The internet is an absolute shock. Love and Hip Hop Atlanta's power couple just shattered into pieces. Yandy Smith, the woman who stood by Mendeecees through prison, scandals, and endless rumors, has finally hit her breaking point. What started as a quiet conversation between friends turned into a devastating betrayal that no one saw coming. When Jessica White sat down with Yandy to discuss a few innocent daisies involving her niece Robin, she never expected to uncover a secret proposal. Yes, you heard that right. Mendeecees Harris, Yandy's husband, allegedly got down on one knee for another woman, and that woman was someone shockingly close to home. What followed was tears, chaos, and a viral explosion that's now ripping through Atlanta's entire reality TV scene. Tonight, we're unpacking how one text message destroyed a marriage, exposed hidden lies, and changed Yandy's life forever. The night that changed everything didn't begin with drama. It began with laughter, champagne, and flashing lights at one of Atlanta's most exclusive lounges, Red Martini. The music was heavy, the energy unstoppable, and everyone in the VIP sections was showing off their status. Reality stars, influencers, and the usual ATL elite. Among them was Mendeecees Harris, the man once celebrated as one half of Love and Hip Hop's most resilient couple. But that night, something was different. He wasn't wearing his wedding ring. Jessica White, a longtime friend of Yandy Smith and a respected figure in her own right, had come out to unwind with her niece, Robin, a rising influencer with beauty, confidence, and that kind of magnetic presence that turned heads. Robin wasn't the type to chase fame, but when she noticed Mendeecees staring across the section, she knew she had his attention. According to Robin, he didn't hesitate. He left his crew, slid into her section, and sat right beside her, smiling like he'd been waiting for this all night. It started off harmless. Drinks, laughs, a little flirtation. But Robin swore that something felt off. He was too comfortable, too smooth, too ... single. There was no mention of Yandy, no ring, no hesitation. And when she asked the question, every woman wants to know, "Are you married?" his answer was chilling. It's complicated. Jessica would later repeat that line in disbelief. "It's complicated," she muttered. "You mean to tell me the man who built an entire brand on being a husband, a father, a reformed man called his marriage complicated?" It didn't make sense, but Robin wasn't making this up. She had receipts. The communication didn't stop there. Mendeecees allegedly moved the conversation to Instagram. DMs started to fly back and forth. Casual greetings, compliments, and questions like, "Where are you at these days? Miami or Atlanta?" It wasn't full-on romantic at first, but it had that undertone, that energy that said, "I'm available." Robin said she didn't even give him her number, but he didn't need it. He knew how to find her online now. Jessica wasn't one to jump to conclusions. She had seen her share of messy situations in the entertainment world. But this one hit close to home. She'd known Yandy for years, watched her build her empire, raise her kids, and fight for her man through one of the hardest times of his life. The idea that Mendeecees could throw that all away for a few late-night messages was unthinkable. But the more Robin talked, the heavier Jessica's heart grew. It wasn't just that Mendeecees was flirting. It was how he was doing it. The same lines he once used to charm Yandy. The same gestures. The same confidence he was now using on another woman. Jessica knew that if she didn't say something, this could spiral into something uglier. Gossip spreads fast in Atlanta. And with names like Shakina, Carly Red, and Bambi, always hovering around this kind of secret, would explode before anyone had a chance to control the story. So, Jessica made a decision, one she knew would change everything. She would go to Yandy herself. She didn't want to embarrass her. She didn't want to humiliate a woman she admired. But she also couldn't stand by and let Yandy find out through the grapevine. "I know what it's like," Jessica said quietly in an interview clip later. "To be the last one to know. To be the one holding on to loyalty, while someone's out there making you look stupid." When Jessica finally sat down with Yandy, it wasn't a confrontation. It was heartbreak wrapped in concern. Cameras were rolling, but you could see the genuine pain in Jessica's eyes as she began. "I need to talk to you about Mendeecees," she said softly, "because people are onto him now." Yandy's confusion was immediate. Her brows furrowed, her lips tightened. "Onto him? How?" she asked clearly, already on the defensive. Jessica didn't waste time. "He's been talking to Robin," she said. "My niece." The words hit like a punch to the gut. Yandy blinked, her posture stiffening, talking how Jessica pulled out her phone, scrolling to the screenshots Robin had sent her through Deems. He told her he wasn't wearing his ring, said his marriage was complicated. You tell me what that sounds like. For a second, silence filled the room. Yandy's eyes darted across the messages. You could see her scanning each word, trying to process, trying to breathe. And then she did something no one expected. She laughed. A sharp, forced laugh that barely hid the tremble in her voice. "Girl, those messages. That was me," Yandy said. "I used his account to test her. I wanted to see how far she'd go." Jessica froze. "What?" "I saw her at the club that night," Yandy continued, her tone rising. "She was all over him. I didn't like it. So yeah, I wrote her. I wanted to see if she'd take the bait. I was the one texting her, not him." But Jessica wasn't convinced. The timestamps didn't add up. The tone didn't sound like Yandy's voice. And besides, what wife pretends to be her husband to flirt with another woman online? It didn't make sense, unless Yandy was trying to cover something much deeper. In that moment, the tension between them thickened. Yandy's defenses went up. Jessica's concern turned into disbelief. "You're telling me you catfished your friend's niece to test her loyalty?" Jessica asked. Yandy sighed, shaking her head. "You don't understand, Jess. In this life, in this spotlight, you have to protect what's yours. And I'm not about to let another woman embarrass me." But behind her words, there was something else. Fear. And Jessica saw it immediately. The fear of exposure. The fear of truth. The fear of losing control of a narrative Yandy had worked years to protect. The club, the DMIs, the lies. It was all beginning to spin out of control. And as Yandy scrolled through the messages again, pretending to analyze every word, her hands started to tremble. Something was wrong. Something was missing. Because what Jessica didn't know yet, and what Yandy was desperately hiding, was that there was one more message Robin hadn't shown. A message that would change everything. The next day, the whispers began. Atlanta's gossip circles were buzzing from the salons to the radio shows. Something was off between Yandy Smith and Mendeecees. The couple everyone once called goals was suddenly under fire. The streets were talking about the DMIs, and fans were flooding social media with questions. Why Men's ain't wearing his ring? One fan posted on Twitter, "Didn't Yandy just say they were working on their marriage?" Another wrote, "Jessica White didn't have to air that out like that, but I believe her niece." By morning, screenshots of those alleged DMIs had already gone viral. You could practically feel the tension boiling under the surface. especially because Yan still hadn't made a statement. Normally, she'd jump online, go live, clap back, or spin the narrative. But this time, silence. Dead silence. Behind that silence, though, was chaos. Inside her home, Yandy was spiraling. Every minute that passed felt like her reputation was crumbling a little more. Her phone buzzed non-stop producers from VH1, Mona Scott's team, publicists, and castmates, all wanting to know the same thing. What's going on with you and Mendeecees? But Yandy didn't have answers. Not anymore. Jessica White's words were still echoing in her head. He said, "It's complicated." That line kept looping like a bad song she couldn't escape. She wanted to believe Mendeecees, but the receipts looked too real. And the worst part, the name Robin wasn't just some random fan. It was a niece of a friend, someone who should have been off limits. When Mendeecees finally walked in that afternoon, everything about him screamed guilt, or at least awareness. He dropped his keys, glanced at Yandy, and sighed before even saying a word. "You've seen the blogs," he muttered, avoiding eye contact. "See them?" Yandy snapped, standing up. "I am the blogs right now. Everyone's calling me a fool again. You said you were going to the club with the guys. You didn't say you were going to be all up in somebody's face." He rubbed his forehead, trying to stay calm. "You listening to gossip again? You know how people twist stories. That girl lying for clout." But Yandy wasn't buying it. She shoved her phone toward him, the DMS glowing on the screen. "Then explain this. Explain why my husband, the man I went to war for, the man I held down for years, is asking another woman if she's in Miami or Atlanta." He hesitated just long enough to make it worse. Then came the same excuse she had heard before. "That's not what it looks like. You know, people fake messages all the time." But Yandy had heard too many "that's not what it looks like" moments. This time the evidence hit different. She'd fought for this marriage in front of cameras, online trolls, and critics for years. She was tired, and critics for years. She was tired. "I built this brand around being your ride, or die," she said, her voice cracking. "I defended you when nobody else would. I took care of the kids while you were locked up. I sat in interviews, saying Mendeecees is misunderstood, and this is how you repay me." He stepped closer, his tone softening. "You know I love you. I ain't proposed to nobody." Yandy froze. She hadn't even brought up the proposal yet. Her eyes widened as her voice lowered. "Who told you about that?" Mendeecees' expression faltered. For the first time that day, he looked scared. "Wait, what you mean?" "I just number answer me," she snapped. "Who told you about the proposal?" "Because I didn't say a word." There it was, the slip-up. Someone had proposed, and he knew it. Before Yandy could press further, her phone rang again. It was Mona Scott. Normally she'd ignore the call, but something told her to answer. Yandy Mona's voice came through cold and serious. "We need to talk about what's happening." TMZ reached out to the network. They said Jessica White's niece is claiming Mendeecees proposed to her, and she's got video. Yandy's heart stopped. Video. "Apparently there's footage from that night at the club," Mona continued. "A clip where he gets on one knee. It's short, but it's circulating. You need to get ahead of this. I can't have this blowing up the show's brand again." Yandy felt her knees weaken. "You mean to tell me there's proof?" Mona exhaled sharply. "Whatever it is, you better fix it because the internet's already eating it up. And if this keeps spreading, VH1's going to make a statement." The call ended, leaving Yandy shaking. She looked at Mendeecees again, who is now pacing back and forth, his face tight with panic. "I didn't propose," he said under his breath. "They twisted it. I dropped something and she made it look like stop." Yandy interrupted, tears welling in her eyes. Don't insult me with that. She took a deep breath, clutching her chest. You know what hurts the most? It's not the rumors. It's not the blogs. It's that you keep putting me in positions where I have to choose between protecting my peace or protecting you. The silence that followed was deafening. Meanwhile, online, fans were dissecting every frame of the alleged proposal video. It showed a dimly lit club, a crowd cheering, and Mendeecees bending down to pick up something. But in the clip, Robin was standing in front of him smiling, her hand extended. Without context, it looked like a proposal. The hashtag started trending immediately. Mendeecees proposal. Yandy deserve a spurter. Rowan DM drama. Even Yandy's own supporters were conflicted. Some defended her fiercely. She's too loyal for him, while others dragged her, claiming she'd been ignoring the red flags for too long. Back in her living room, Yandy sat in silence, scrolling through the chaos. Her empire, the brand she'd built on loyalty, family, and love, was cracking in real time. She thought about Jessica White, about how hard it must have been for her to come forward. Maybe Jessica wasn't trying to hurt her after all. Maybe she was trying to save her from another round of heartbreak. And yet, Yandy couldn't shake the anger. She could have come to me privately, she whispered. She didn't have to go on camera with it. She made me look weak. Mendeecees sat across from her, rubbing his temples. You care too much about what people say. You know I ain't do that. Yandy looked up slowly, her eyes red but defiant. Then prove it, she said, and for the first time, had no words. What Yandy didn't know though, was that Jessica White wasn't done, because while she'd revealed the DMS and the rumors, she hadn't yet shown the final piece of evidence. Robin gave her something that would shatter every excuse Mendeecees tried to use. The next 48 hours were pure chaos. Blogs, gossip accounts, and YouTube drama channels exploded with headlines like Mindy's caught proposing to Jessica, White's niece and Yandy, Smith's marriage on the brink. Clips from the club were playing on loop, and every influencer in Atlanta suddenly had an opinion. Even Mona Scott herself was trending after being accused of letting the drama happen for ratings. By now, Yandy couldn't open her phone without seeing her own face plastered across the internet. Her tears from that emotional confrontation with Jessica had already been clipped and turned into memes. Fans were flooding her Instagram with comments, half of them supportive, half brutal. Girl, leave that man already. Yandy blink twice if you need help. He proposed to another woman, and you still sitting there defending him. But behind all the noise, something deeper was brewing. Something only a few insiders knew. Jessica White wasn't done talking. After her emotional sit-down with Yandy, she'd gone home and called Mona directly, not to gossip, but to warn her that things were about to get darker. Jessica told Mona that Robin had more than Dean's. She had footage, not the blurry clip that went viral, but full-length recordings from that night at Red Martini. Audio, video, timestamps, everything, and what it showed would make Yandy's heart stop. The next day, Mona arranged a private meeting off-camera with Yandy, Jessica, and Robin. No producers, no lights, no makeup, just the three women sitting in a dimly lit conference room in Buckhead. Yandy looked exhausted. Her face was puffy from crying, her voice. Jessica, on the other hand, looked calm, like someone who didn't want to be there, but knew it had to happen. Robin was visibly nervous, clutching her phone like it was her only lifeline. Alright, Mona began, her tone flat. Before we even start, I need honesty. Yandy, I need you to listen. Robin, I need you to show exactly what you showed Jess, and I want no interruptions." Robin nodded, her hands shaking slightly. She opened her phone, tapped on a video, K, and turned it toward the table. The footage began inside the club, the same night everyone was talking about. The crowd was loud, but Mendeecees' voice was clear. He was standing beside Robin, laughing, holding a drink. You could hear him say, "You look good tonight. I see you shining." Robin smiled awkwardly, replying, "Aren't you married?" That's when his tone shifted. Playful but suggestive. "It's complicated," he said again. Jessica looked away. Yandy's jaw clenched. Then came the part that had the internet losing its mind. The camera shook as Mendeecees dropped to one knee, not in front of a stage, not for a joke, but right beside Robin. The audio was messy. People were cheering, but you could hear him say something that made Yandy's stomach twist. "You deserve better than these ATL boys." Then he reached into his pocket, pulled something out, a small ring-shaped trinket, and handed it to Robin. It wasn't a real proposal, not in the traditional sense, but it looked like one. He was teasing, drunk maybe, but the optics were horrible. Yandy stared at the phone screen like she'd seen a ghost. For a moment, the room was silent. You could hear the faint hum of the AC. Then she finally spoke. "So this is what people are calling a proposal," she said, her voice trembling but sharp. Jessica tried to soften her tone. "Yandy, listen. I know it looks bad, but bad." Yandy interrupted, her voice cracking. "That's my husband. My husband down on one knee, handing another woman a ring. I don't care if it's a joke, a dare, or a dream. That's humiliation." Robin flinched. "I didn't post it," she said quietly. "Someone else did. I swear I wasn't trying to cause problems." But Yandy wasn't even listening anymore. Her entire world felt like it was spinning. Every ounce of loyalty she'd shown, every moment she defended him, it all suddenly felt like a lie. She turned to Jessica, tears brimming in her eyes. "You had to bring me this. You couldn't just tell me to my face. You had to make me relive this." Jessica sighed, leaning forward. "I didn't do this to hurt you. I did this because if I didn't, someone else would." This video was already out there. The blogs just didn't have the full version yet, and believe me, they will. Mona sat quietly, observing every second. She'd seen dozens of scandals in her career, but this one felt different. There was something deeply human about it. No scripted lines, no reality TV edits, just pain. When the video ended, Yandy stood up. "You know what's crazy?" she said, her voice shaking. "I gave that man everything. I took care of him, our kids, our home, even his business. And now I have to watch him play ring games with another woman? Like it's funny." Jessica whispered. "He's wrong, Yandy. No one's saying he's not. But maybe you need to stop protecting him." Those words hit hard, because deep down, Yandy knew Jessica was right. She'd been protecting Mendeecees for years from rumors, from blogs, even from his own mistakes. She'd built her image around the idea that they were unbreakable, and now that image was falling apart. Not just publicly, but personally. Outside the conference room, paparazzi had already started to gather. Word had leaked that Yandy and Jessica were meeting privately, and the speculation was instant. Fans started piecing it together in real time. Jessica brought the receipts. Robin's video is real. Yandy's in denial. When Yandy finally walked out of that building, she didn't say a word. Cameras flashed, questions flew. "Yandy, is it true? Did Mendeecees really propose? Are you leaving him? Mendeecees really propose? Are you leaving him?" But she just kept walking, her head low, her hands shaking. Later that night, Yandy finally broke her silence on Instagram Live. Her voice was calm but raw, her face bare, her eyes swollen from crying. "I'm not perfect," she began, "but I've always tried to love hard, protect my family, and do right by the people I care about. What y'all saw in that video, I don't know what that was. I'm hurt, I'm embarrassed, and I'm angry. But don't get it twisted. I'm not broken, not yet." Within minutes, over 100,000 people were watching. The comment section exploded with heartbreak, sympathy, and rage. "Stay strong, Queen. We got your back. We don't deserve you." But buried deep in the flood of comments was one that froze her cold. It was from an anonymous account. The message read, "That wasn't the only night. That single message, that wasn't the only night, changed everything." It was short, cold, and anonymous, but it sliced through Yandy's already fragile piece like a blade. She stared at the comment for a long time, the words burning into her mind. Her life ended abruptly after that. She couldn't talk anymore, couldn't breathe, couldn't even pretend. Within hours, her demise were flooded with messages from people claiming to know more. Some were trolls fishing for attention, others were just speculating, but a few messages stood out. They weren't random fans. They were people who knew Mendeecees, bartenders, promoters, even a dancer from Red Martini who said she'd seen something. The night the viral video was filmed, Yandy spent the entire night pacing around her living room, scrolling through screenshots, replaying the footage, and trying to convince herself that it was all some orchestrated setup. But the more she looked, the worse it got. At around 3 a.m., she finally called Jessica. Her voice was shaking, barely holding back tears. "Jess," she said, "somebody just DM'd me, saying that wasn't the only night he was out there like that." Jessica hesitated. "Yandy, I didn't want to say this before, but there have been rumors for weeks. That club scene wasn't a one-time thing. Robin told me she saw him again 2 weeks later. Same energy, no ring." Yandy's chest tightened. "Why didn't you tell me this sooner?" "I was hoping it would go away," Jessica said quietly. "But you know how Atlanta is. Nothing stays buried here, especially not when cameras are always rolling." By morning, things had gone from bad to catastrophic. Gossip channels like The Shade Room and On-Site had picked up the story, posting side-by-side photos of Mendeecees with Robin from different events. Commentators were dissecting every body language cue, every stare, every caption. A TikTok account even posted a slowed-down version of the proposal video with dramatic music, zooming in on Robin's face while flashing captions like, "Was it a joke or was it love?" Then came the bombshell. Robin herself went live. She didn't look cocky or attention hungry. She looked nervous, sitting in her bedroom with her hair tied up and no makeup. She started the live with trembling hands. "I didn't ask for this," she said. "I didn't want to ruin anyone's marriage, but people keep coming for me like I'm lying, and I'm tired." She paused, staring straight at the camera. "Yes, I met Mendeecees at Red Martini. Yes, he said his marriage was complicated. No, I didn't go home with him, but y'all need to know something. That wasn't the only night he reached out." The chat blew up instantly. Thousands flooded in as she began scrolling through her phone. "He hit me up again weeks later. This time it was about a business collab. But y'all can read between the lines." She opened her demise live on camera. Messages from Mendeecees' verified account flashed across the screen. "What's your number? You still in the city? I can help you build your brand if you're serious." Fans went wild. The comments flew faster than she could read. Not the "I can help your brand" line. He always using business as a cover. Yandy deserves so much better. Oh my god. Within minutes, blogs had already screen recorded her live. The evidence was out. By noon, Mendeecees' name was trending nationwide. He finally broke his silence with an Instagram post that only made things worse. A black screen, white text. Don't believe everything you see. Y'all love a story more than the truth. That was it. No apology, no denial, just deflection. Fans turned on him immediately. If it's fake, show proof. You always gaslight Yandy. She held you down for years. Meanwhile, Mona Scott's production team was scrambling. Season footage was already being edited, but now the storyline had shifted completely. The executives saw an opportunity. Chaos mint views. But Mona herself was torn. She'd built her empire on drama. But this was personal. Yandy wasn't just another cast member. She was family. Behind the scenes, Mona called Yandy directly. "Listen, I know this is painful," she said gently, "but I need you to decide something. Are you walking away from this story? Or are you going to own it?" Yandy's voice was low, exhausted. "Mona, I don't even know what's real anymore. Every time I think I've seen the worst of him, something else comes out. Mona, you don't have to answer now, but the world's already watching, and if you don't speak, they'll write the story for you." That hit hard. Yandy knew it was true. Silence had never protected her before. It only gave the world time to turn her pain into entertainment. Later that day, a new exclusive dropped. A well-known gossip blogger named Tasha Red released a recorded audio clip that she claimed was a conversation between Robin and Mendeecees. In the clip, his voice could be heard saying, "You can't post nothing yet. People watch everything I do." Robin laughed nervously and said, "You said your wife knew what was up." He replied, "She don't need to know everything." The audio spread like wildfire. Fans went insane. Hashtags like, "She and T need to know everything" started trending. It was the quote of the day, messy, raw, and damning. Yandy's friends tried to reach out, but she shut everyone out. She turned off her phone, closed her blinds, and spent hours crying on her couch. Every headline felt like a dagger dart. Then, late that evening, another storm hit. Jessica called again. Her tone was panicked this time. "Yandy, there's something you need to see right now. It's about Robin." Yandy's heart pounded. "What now?" Jessica hesitated. "It's not what you think. It's worse. Someone just leaked footage of Robin meeting with Mona's assistant, and she's talking about getting paid for the footage." "What?" Yandy gasped. "She's saying Mona's team paid her to expose the story, that they wanted this season's biggest scandal. They're calling it the proposal arc." Yandy felt the world tilt. Suddenly, everything made sense. The timing, the leaks, the mysterious footage. Could it all have been orchestrated? Her anger burned into confusion. She whispered, "So this was never about me and him. This was about TV." But Jessica's voice was grim. "Maybe it started that way, but now it's real. The pain's real. The betrayal's real. And everyone's watching." Yandy sat there, tears falling silently, realizing the cruelest truth of all. She wasn't just losing her husband. She was losing the story she thought she controlled. And somewhere in the chaos, the line between reality and reality TV had completely vanished. By the following week, the entire Love and Hip Hop Atlanta universe had turned into a war zone. Every blog, every YouTube drama page, and every gossip account was spinning their own version of events. Some said Yandy was being set up by producers. Others claimed Mendeecees was secretly filming a redemption arc to save face. But no matter how people twisted it, one thing was clear: the damage was done. Yandy Smith's life was no longer her own. It was public property. Outside her Buckhead townhouse, paparazzi waited day and night. Every grocery run became an ambush. Every moment with her kids turned into tabloid fodder. One photo of Yandy crying in her car went viral. Captioned "Yandy breaks down" after Mendeecees' proposal scandal. The internet turned her pain into a hashtag. Meanwhile, Mendeecees had gone completely silent. No posts, no appearances, no explanations. Some fans took that as guilt. Others claimed it was lawyer strategy. But behind closed doors, Yandy finally decided it was time for answers. Real answers. She texted Mendeecees, "We need to talk. No cameras. No PR. Just you and me." He showed up that evening wearing a hoodie, quiet, avoiding her eyes. The house was dark, except for a single lamp by the window. Yandy didn't waste time. "Tell me the truth," she said flatly. "Did you propose to her?" Mendeecees sat down slowly, rubbing his hands together. "It wasn't what it looked like, Yandy. You know how things get blown up for TV." "Stop!" she snapped. "Don't give me the PR speech. I don't care about what it looked like. I care about what you did." He hesitated, then sighed heavily. "Look, Robin was drunk. We were joking around and I played along. Yeah, I got on one knee, but it wasn't serious. I didn't mean for it to go that far." Yandy's eyes filled with tears. "So, you did do it." He looked up. "It wasn't a proposal. It was a joke." She laughed bitterly. "I joke? Do you know what it's like to wake up and see millions of people debating whether your husband proposed to another woman? To have your kids' teachers whispering about it? To have your own mother call and ask if it's true?" He stayed silent. Yandy's voice broke. "You were supposed to protect me, not embarrass me." That's when he finally looked at her. Really looked at her and said something that would haunt her forever. "I never asked to be your storyline." Haunt her forever. "I never asked to be your storyline." It was like the air was sucked out of the room. For years, Gandhi had fought to keep their love alive in the middle of TV chaos. The cameras, the producers, the endless drama. She thought she was fighting for their marriage. But now she realized she'd been fighting for something he'd stopped believing in long ago. She stepped back, shaking her head in disbelief. "After everything I did for you, that's what you think of me? That this is all for TV?" He didn't respond. She whispered, "Then maybe we were never real to you." He stood up, pacing the room, mumbling, "You know it ain't like that." But all this attention, the show, the blogs, the fake storylines, it's too much. It's toxic. Yandy folded her arms. "No, you're toxic. Not the show, not the producers. You." For a few seconds, neither of them spoke. Then Menz quietly grabbed his jacket and walked out, leaving her standing there alone. Hours later, Yandy posted a single message to her Instagram story. "When a woman finally stops fighting, it's not because she's weak, it's because she's done." The post got over 400,000 likes in less than an hour. Celebrities like Rashida, Erica Mena, and even Candy Burroughs commented heart emojis and words of support. Fans flooded her page with messages like, "We love you, Yandy, and you'll rise again, Queen." But behind that post, Yandy was breaking. She didn't eat. She didn't sleep. She sat in silence, replaying every memory. The visits to prison, the long nights writing letters, the moments she thought they'd finally made it. All of it felt wasted. Then in the middle of her heartbreak, Mona Scott showed up at her door. "Yandy," Mona said softly, "you don't have to go through this alone." Yandy looked up, her eyes swollen. "Mona, please, no cameras." "Not this time." Mona sat beside her. "There are no cameras. It's just me. I wanted to tell you something off the record." She hesitated, then added, "I didn't know about the setup. The assistant who paid Robin, that wasn't approved by me. That was the network trying to create buzz for next season. I would never do that to you." Yandy's voice cracked. So even this pain wasn't real. It was just content-to-them. Mona sighed. "No, the pain's real, but now it's time to decide what you do with it. You can walk away, or you can own it." Yandy stared out the window for a long time. She thought about every woman who had ever been humiliated on national TV. Every time she'd told herself she'd never be one of them. And now here she was. "I'm not walking away," she said finally. "Not like this. If they want a story, I'll give them one, but it's going to be my story." Over the next few days, Yandy did something no one expected. She called Jessica and Robin, asking them to meet one last time, but this time it was her turn to talk. When they arrived, she looked both of them in the eye and said, "I forgive you." Jessica looked stunned. "Yay, you don't have to." "Yes, I do," Yandy interrupted. "Because this whole mess, it's bigger than us. It's about women being pitted against each other for entertainment. About men being protected while we get dragged." She paused, then added, "I won't let that happen anymore." That clip of Yandy's final speech later went viral, not because of drama, but because of how raw and human it was. Even her critics applauded her for turning pain into power. As the video ended, the comments were flooded with messages like, "Yandy, you handled that like a queen. And now, that's how you take your story back." For once, the world wasn't laughing at her. They were standing with her. But the question that still lingered in every fan's mind was simple. Would Mendeecees ever come back? Or was this truly the end of Love and Hip Hop's most iconic love story? Whatever the answer, one thing was certain. Yandy Smith had finally stopped being the victim of someone else's script. From now on, she was writing her own. And there you have it, the truth behind one of the most explosive scandals to ever hit Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. From secret dimes to viral footage, from betrayal to empowerment, Yandy Smith's story reminds everyone that even the strongest hearts can break when the spotlight burns too hot. But through all the chaos, one thing became clear. Yandy didn't crumble. She transformed. What started as humiliation turned into liberation. She faced her pain, confronted her truth, and took back the narrative that was stolen from her. That's why her name still trends. Not for the scandal, but for the strength that revealed. Now fans everywhere are asking the same question. Is this the end of Yandy and Mendeecees? Or their birth of a woman finally done being anyone's storyline but her own? Only time will tell. If you made it this far, don't forget to hit like, drop a comment with your thoughts on whether Yandy should forgive or forget, and subscribe for more deep dives into the wild world of hip-hop drama. Because this isn't just reality TV anymore, it's real life, raw emotion, and the kind of chaos that only Atlanta can bring. Stay tuned, because if there's one thing this city guarantees, it's that the story never really ends. Never really ends.